So I'm just gonna tell a little bit about each of these people and let them talk for themselves. So I think the thing that bothers me the most about what's going on in our prisons and in our state and in our nation is the way people are misunderstood that we have locked up in the prisons. So and I'll just tell you a quick story and then I'll shut up. But in 2006, a woman applied to our program. Her name was Becky Hopwood, and she was a middle-aged nurse in Walla Walla, and probably had never had a parking ticket in her life. But she was kidnapped and taken to Kennewick and locked up in a house and repeatedly raped over the course of a weekend. And out of that, she became a friend came over from the hospital later and introduced her to meth so she could quote unquote be happy again, right? Because the trauma of what happened had crashed her into a deep depression. So she ended up taking a leave of absence from the general hospital, and eventually, because you can't do well as a registered nurse in an emergency room setting if you're on drugs, she lost her job. Then she didn't have the income to pay for the drugs that she was addicted to. And so she started manufacturing and dealing, and then she ended up being arrested and was sentenced to prison for 7 years. The guy who kidnapped and raped her was sentenced to 2 years. But the point I want to make is that not one word in the Walla Walla Union Bulletin or any other media about the kidnap and the rape. It was just about the dealing and the manufacturing. And that's what happens. We in the public never know the stories unless, like, Joe's been to prison with us a lot of times. Mike McCormick's been to prison with us a lot of times. A student of ours over here was a prisoner. You never see the background story. You don't see 4-year-old. You don't see the 4-year-old little girl who watches her dad be hauled off to prison for a life sentence and be traumatized from that. You don't see the 6-year-old kid who's introduced to drugs by her parents. You don't see the 10-year-old young man who's introduced to drugs by his dad. You just see half-truths and distortions and lies in the media. So hopefully some of what you'll learn tonight is the background stories. And what's really cool is the way Shalisha and Jenny and Keith have risen above what happened to them earlier and continue to rise. So I'm going to go to the back. So stop smiling.